Why does it suck to be Mister Sinister? Well, imagine if Dracula, Liberace, and a mad scientist all walked into a blender, hit puree, and out popped Marvel's most bedazzled loser. That's him, Mister Sinister, the man, the myth, the eyeliner sponsorship waiting to happen. Now on paper, he looks terrifying, immortal, genius-level intellect, master of genetics, basically the guy who should be running the mutant world like a twisted Jeff Bezos. But here's the tragic punchline: no matter how smart, powerful, or fabulous he gets, he always manages to screw it up. And we're not talking little slip-ups, we're talking century-long obsessions that crash harder than a DC movie. So buckle in, because we're about to roast a villain who proves that sometimes immortality just means you get infinite chances to be an idiot. So, what's Mister Sinister's biggest flex? Infinite intelligence? Immortality? Nope, it's being Marvel's creepiest stalker. Forget Magneto with his speeches or Doom with his empire. Sinister's lifelong hobby is hoarding Cyclops and Jean Grey's DNA like some deranged collector. Except instead of gotta catch 'em all, it's gotta creep on this couple until they call security. He's been obsessed with Scott Summers and Jean Grey for over a century. And let's be real, if you were going to pick one couple to obsess over, this is the most boring choice imaginable. Cyclops is basically a walking pair of Oakleys. Jean has died more times than an NPC in Dark Souls, and yet Sinister swears their DNA is the holy grail of mutant kind. And how does he express this undying devotion? By cloning Jean Grey over and over. Each one a disaster. Madeline Pryor, one of his successes, went full Goblin Queen, summoned demons, and tried to sacrifice her own kid. That's not science, that's a daytime soap gone satanic. But does Sinister ever stop? Of course not. He's like the guy who keeps texting his ex at 3 a.m. convinced this time it'll work. Spoiler, it never does. In short, Mister Sinister isn't a genius mastermind. He's Marvel's most fabulous stalker with a god complex. If Mister Sinister had a resume, the headline would be cloning expert. And if HR were honest, the fine print would say, yeah, but every project ends in disaster. He spent over a century trying to play God with mutant DNA, mixing, splicing, and experimenting like a mad scientist binge-watching Jurassic Park. And yet, every single creation blows up in his face faster than a goldfish at a frat party. Take the Jean Grey clones. His masterpiece, Madeline Pryor, went rogue, crowned herself the Goblin Queen, and tried to sacrifice her own baby. That's not science, that's a satanic soap opera. And it's not just Jean. Sinister's endless quest to build the perfect mutant has churned out nothing but rejects, genetic abominations that look like Marvel's scrap Pokemon designs. His lab is basically a cursed Build-A-Bear workshop, except instead of plush toys, you leave with a screaming biohazard. The real kicker? He never stops. Sinister fails, shrugs, and tries again like a chef who keeps burning every dish but swears the next one will earn him a Michelin star. He's Gordon Ramsay. If every episode ended with, "Congratulations, you poisoned the entire kitchen." Cloning isn't just his science, it's his addiction, his curse. Every attempt proves the same thing. He's not a master geneticist. He's Marvel's most fabulous junk scientist, collecting L's in designer shoulder pads. On paper, immortality sounds like the ultimate cheat code, but who wouldn't want infinite time to master skills, build empires, or finally clear out that Netflix backlog? But for Mister Sinister, living forever isn't a blessing. It's being trapped in an endless group project where you're always the one tanking the grade. Sinister's whole brand is immortal genetic genius. Sounds terrifying, until you realize immortality just means he gets infinite retries at failure. Picture a video game where you respawn every time you die, but you're still the idiot who runs straight into lava. That's Sinister's entire career. Since the 1800s, he's had all the time in the world and still hasn't managed to win a single decade. Magneto reshaped the Earth, Thanos snapped half the universe, Doom conquered gods, and Sinister? He's basically a Victorian lab rat with fabulous cheekbones. And the worst part, he remembers all of it. Every failed clone, every humiliation, every time Cyclops and Jean told him to buzz off. Mortals at least get the dignity of dying once and being done with it. Sinister just gets to lie awake at 3 a.m., eyeliner smudged, whispering, "Wow, I've been an idiot for 150 years straight." You'd think centuries of failure would teach him patience, sharpen his strategy. Nope. He's still the same petty, impulsive diva, only now with centuries of receipts proving he's awful at this. His eternal life isn't power, it's punishment. He's Marvel's version of Windows Vista, technically unkillable, eternally broken, and universally mocked. So yeah, Mr. Sinister may live forever, but that just means he has an eternity to keep humiliating himself. Eternal life, eternal cringe. Here's the tragic comedy of Mr. Sinister. In almost any other universe, he'd be nightmare fuel. An immortal Victorian scientist turned genetic warlord? That sounds like a setup to a horror movie. But this is Marvel, and in Marvel, the villain roster is stacked. Magneto bends the Earth's magnetic field like it's aluminum foil. Doctor Doom builds empires, duels gods, and still finds time to be petty about Reed Richards. Thanos wiped out half the universe with a dramatic fist pump. And Mr. Sinister? He's still in the lab smashing DNA strands together like a kid mashing action figures, then wondering why nobody's scared of him. In the pantheon of Marvel villains, Sinister isn't feared, he's tolerated. He's the awkward guy at the evil League of Evil who gets invited just so the others can laugh when he spills soup on his cape. Picture a Comic-Con panel. Doom unveils his plan to enslave reality. Magneto casually bends every microphone. And Sinister nervously clears his throat. So, I made another Cyclops clone and it, exploded. And that's the thing. It's not that he lacks power. He's brilliant, immortal, and dangerous on paper. But power without results is just cosplay. Sinister has all the flair, none of the follow-through. For every grand scheme, he ends up less mastermind and more wily coyote with a genetics lab. All the gadgets, all the plans, and every single one blows up in his face. So when you stack him against the greats, Mr. Sinister doesn't rank as Marvel's most dangerous villain. He ranks as Marvel's most embarrassing. He cracked the code of DNA, sure, but he's never cracked the code of simply not sucking. For once in his miserable, eyeliner-soaked existence, Mr. Sinister actually made it. He wasn't lurking in the shadows or crashing someone else's scheme. He was a founding council member of Krakoa, mutant paradise, sitting shoulder to shoulder with Magneto, Xavier, and Apocalypse. Basically the X-Men's version of the Illuminati. And for 5 glorious minutes, Sinister wasn't just tolerated, he was respected. But here's the thing about Mr. Sinister. Give him power and he'll self-destruct faster than a toddler with fireworks. Instead of playing it smart, he immediately started hoarding DNA, running shady cloning projects, and hacking Krakoa's resurrection protocols like a kid cheating in Minecraft with unlimited resources. And of course, it all imploded. His clones rebelled, his lies unraveled, and his schemes collapsed like a freshman trying to cheat on a group project but forgetting the teacher can see the Google Doc history. The cherry on top, the Krakoa saga introduced the Sinister Four. Alternate versions of himself from across the multiverse. You'd think finally, more Sinisters means better odds, right? Wrong. They were just 4 times the same diva making the same mistakes. Infinite Sinisters, infinite failures. Less a council of masterminds, more a support group for narcissists who can't stop sabotaging themselves. In the end, Krakoa proved the ultimate sinister truth. Even when you hand him paradise, unlimited resources, and a literal seat at the table of gods, he'll still torch it all, chasing some half-baked idea. He was supposed to be the genius who finally won. Instead, he was the drunk uncle at the family reunion who sets the grill on fire and blames it on bad DNA. Mr. Sinister didn't just fail on Krakoa, he failed louder. Here's a dirty secret about Mr. Sinister. He doesn't actually want to win. He wants to look brilliant while losing. His entire identity is built on being seen as the smartest, most fabulous mastermind in the room. It's like if Albert Einstein and RuPaul had a kid who never passed a group project. And you see it in every storyline. Sinister doesn't implode because the X-Men are unstoppable. He implodes because he's addicted to attention. He'll monologue for pages, strut like he's on a villain runway, and then bam! Some teenager with laser eyes ends his century-long plan in under 5 minutes. Why? Because Sinister was too busy bragging about his genius to lock the front door. That's not master strategist, that's Wile E. Coyote in a corset. Even his creepy obsession with Cyclops and Jean Grey isn't really about science, it's insecurity. He thinks if he can manipulate their DNA, he'll finally prove he matters. Spoiler, it never works. It's not discovery, it's desperation. He's forever hijacking other people's genetics because deep down, he doesn't believe he can create anything valuable on his own. And that's the real tragedy, or maybe the punchline. Mr. Sinister has the brains, the power, even immortality. But his biggest enemy isn't Xavier's dreams or the X-Men's fists. It's his own ego. He's the kind of guy who would clone himself just to hear compliments, and then start a screaming match with a clone for not praising him enough. So yeah, Mr. Sinister isn't feared because he's evil. He's mocked because he's Marvel's most insecure diva with a god complex. He doesn't need the X-Men to stop him. He does that all by himself. If you've made it this far, you might be thinking, okay, Sinister can't be that bad. Surely he's had at least one win, right? Oh, sweet summer child. Mr. Sinister's highlight reel isn't a list of victories, it's a blooper reel that plays on loop. Take Inferno. Sinister thought he'd outsmart the X-Men by manipulating Madeline Pryor, Jean Grey's clone. Brilliant plan, right? Except it spiraled so fast that New York literally turned into a demon carnival, and Madeline tried to nuke the planet out of spite. Smooth move, champ. You built a clone so unstable she made Satan look like a sensible option. Or the Age of Apocalypse. Sinister had free reign in a timeline with no Xavier, no Magneto breathing down his neck. Finally, his chance. And what did he do? Created Nate Gray, a mutant so powerful he broke the X-Men's power scale. Sinister literally engineered the one guy most likely to annihilate him. That's not strategy, that's building a Roomba and accidentally inventing Skynet. And then there's House of M. While Magneto and Doom were making power plays, Sinister was nowhere. He sat that one out like the world's most bedazzled benchwarmer. Every other villain at least got a spotlight. Sinister, probably at home doom-scrolling mutant Twitter, whining about his cheekbones. This is his eternal pattern. Either overreach so badly he faceplants in spectacular fashion, or sit on the sidelines while everyone else reshapes reality. No middle ground, no actual wins, just a century-long mixtape titled, Oops, I Did It Again. So yeah, Mr. Sinister's resume looks flashy on paper, genetic genius, immortal, pivotal to mutant history. But scratch the surface and you realize his true superpower isn't science or immortality. It's losing. And it's not just normal losing, creative, spectacular, history-defining failure. If Marvel villains were ranked like sports teams, Sinister wouldn't just be in last place, he'd be relegated to his own league. Welcome to Eternal Losers United. Population, Mr. Sinister. Here's the grand punchline. Mr. Sinister's biggest curse isn't his failed clones, his Cyclops thirst, or even his immortal ego trip. It's that he's stuck in the Marvel universe as the guy who will never matter as much as he thinks he does. Think about it, Magneto and Doom get movies, memes, merch, and respect. Sinister? He's Marvel's bedazzled side character, doomed to monologue, get clowned and vanish until the next writer needs a DNA-obsessed punchline. He's not feared, he's not admired, he's the villain equivalent of Reply Guy energy. And immortality? That just means he gets to live through his humiliations on repeat. Other villains die in glory. Sinister respawns like a video game NPC who can't beat level 1. If Sisyphus had a Marvel counterpart, it'd be this guy, eternally pushing his rock uphill. Except the rock is a vat of Jean Grey clones that keeps exploding in his face. That's why it sucks to be Mr. Sinister. He has all the ingredients to be legendary: brains, power, style, immortality. But his vanity and insecurity drag him down every single time. He's cursed to keep trying, keep failing, and keep getting roasted by heroes and villains alike. And honestly, that's what makes him one of Marvel's most entertaining disasters. You don't read a Sinister story to see him win. You read to see how spectacularly he'll screw it up this time. So yeah, Mister Sinister is living proof that in Marvel, brains, power, and eternal life don't guarantee greatness. Sometimes, they just guarantee you'll embarrass yourself forever in a fabulous cape. And if you enjoyed watching me roast this genetic train wreck, smash that like button, subscribe for more deep dives into Marvel's most dysfunctional characters, and drop a comment. Is Sinister the ultimate loser villain, or does someone else deserve the crown? Either way, hey, at least you're not Mr. Sinister.